Yeah, my winter park.
Any guesses?
No.
No?
Urban Jerome said that they've noticed, so I'm thinking maybe the one that across that park.
Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Okay, it is 5:30 and it is August 26th, 2024. This is the City Commission for Huron. Let's have the roll call vote, please. Roll
Smith.
call, please.
Smith.
Here.
Weinreich.
Here.
Bragg.
Here.
Harvey.
Here.
Mayor Robish.
Present. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We'll consider the approval of the agenda, and I have one addition that I would like to add to the agenda. 9.1 under resolution, petitions and ordinances and resolutions. We're gonna add resolution number 2024-09.
Move to approve as amended.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Public forum. Public forum is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. I would ask you to come to the podium and please state your name and address for the record. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to participate in public forum? Does the commission have anything? I have a couple of them, I guess. And first of all, I'd like to proclaim that September 2024 is National Senior Center Month. So if you have a chance to visit or participate in any of the activities of our own senior center, I would encourage you to do that in the month of September. It's the National Senior Center Month is September 2024. Okay, a couple other things. This past Saturday in Sioux Falls, they had the National South Dakota High School Basketball Hall of Fame induction. And we are really fortunate here. We have some very good basketball players in our community, and 3 from Huron were inducted into that Hall of Fame this last Saturday. Denny Bush was a senior high graduate of 1959. J. L. Wine was a graduate of Huron High School in 1994. And Brian Shanks, Huron High School in 1974. Along with that, Tom McFarland was on the team for Armor, and they were inducted as, I want to get the official name here, recap of our teams of excellence. And the team of Armor High School from 1978 was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. So, and then from our community, we also had Joellen Hofer Solomon. She's from Hitchcock, and she was inducted into the Hall of Fame also. So we're very basketball savvy here in Huron. And congratulations to all of them, and thank you for their showing off their talents, I guess, is what I want to say. Anyone else have anything for public forum?
I'll just mention, we get the state fair starting this Wednesday, and so we'll have lots of visitors in town, and we look forward to everybody, and hopefully everybody has a safe fair, and there'll be lots of cars and people out, so be careful on this, on the streets, and welcome everybody to Huron.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Weinreich. City Commission adjourns to convene as a Board of Adjustments for the following public hearings. First, variance request filed by Megan Mamigan, 304 Kansas Avenue Southeast, to open a cosmetic tattooing studio with Lux Meg Spa. I'm going to turn this over to City Planner Barry Cranston.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Megan has applied for a variance
This is very similar to the variance we just approved here a month ago. And it's for microblading, and it's, the hearing examiner heard this, and between the building official and myself and the hearing examiner, we all recommend approval. The building inspector does need to do a final inspection before she gets open, but she is applied and been approved and been certified, and so we recommend approval for that.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Do we have any questions from the commission for Mr. Cranston or for Megan? She's in the audience tonight. I apologize for your last name, Megan.
That's okay, I
If
get
you
it
want
every
to.
time.
When do you plan on opening?
As soon as I get my inspection, so.
Okay.
Yep, I'm setting it up now, I'm getting my last few things, I already have all my supplies and everything, so
Great.
just setting up the studio, and then as soon as I get inspected. I'll be-
Great, good. It's always to see a new business come in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Lovich.
Aye. 4.2, consider variance request conditional use permit filed by Denise Peterson, 1540 Old Highway 14, to tear down a home on the property. Planner Cranston.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yes, this variance also includes authorization for them to locate a mobile home on the property once the house has been raised that exists today. And that is out in a commercial zone, and the commercial zones don't allow mobile homes by regulation, and so that's what the variance is for. We just, again, very similarly to one we just did here a few weeks ago, in that this one happens to be right around the corner, maybe a block and a half away, so. The hearing examiner and the building inspector both recommended approval, and I recommended approval with condition that they meet all the city ordinances regarding mobile home location. And they have been provided a copy of that, so I just recommend approval with that condition.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions for Planner Cranston or the applicants in the audience? Yes, Commissioner Bragg.
Just like to ask the question, because I know it's something that may come up, since there is already a property there, can you just speak to why you want to raise that one and then construct something new?
If you go ahead and just come up to,
Come on up.
just state your name and,
Sage Peterson, representing for Denise. The property that's there, I'm a realtor as well, so I've shown it before, and then when we closed on it, it's not, in the best condition, so we'd like to bring something new in, and then it's just a new property in Huron that's always, I think, welcomed, so that's the main reason.
It will be a large upgrade.
Thank you.
Yes.
And so you talked about that structure itself, which Barry said, there's all the instructions for tie downs, but you're planning to build that in like a permanent structure, I mean, once that's.
Correct, yep. I think the tie downs and everything will be, yep.
Okay, and then as far as how many campsites and how do you envision those on the space? Wasn't there some notification in here too about some additional camping or?
Yeah, we don't have any certain number tied down, just because we're still planning to kind of figure out how many and how to best get it in there, but, yeah, that's still up in the air.
and those were, the intention there, and then kind of filling in the blanks for you, so correct me if I'm wrong. The intention was for camping on a temporary basis as they came and went, and so it was not for additional mobile homes per se. It was just for camping.
But I would assume, like so that's all included in this same.
Right.
So like when we did in that same area, other campsites, were there some specific requirements as far as how many and how those were located? I seem to recall.
There was a proposed ordinance that did not pass. And so now we ask that they just stay 6 feet apart. And so we kind of ask that they follow some guidelines and some safety precautions, just so we don't have a situation similar to, like Ponset when they had their big fire over there, several campers caught on fire.
So with that, I mean, for their purposes, so do we give them a list of what our, we don't have an ordinance, but
We
do
don't,
give them
and we typically don't have a written set of rules or guidelines for those. So we just ask that they use their best judgment, and so we have never published any kind of guidelines for that
Do you
purpose.
think it would make sense to have, I mean, I know we went through out of the ordinance and
Yeah.
that didn't go, but
Right,
do you think it would make sense to have a recommended best practices type of thing?
we could in the future, but there's nothing that exists today for that purpose.
I'm assuming if they wanted to put in, they would have to come in with some kind of plans saying, you know, here's where the house sits, here's where the campsites are, or the whatever, or.
Well, and one of the things, for example, that we talked about during the hearing examiner meeting was that they contact the water department superintendent because of, they might want backflow preventers or
Correct.
something like that, you know. And so we try to side on or err on the side of caution as best we can, so.
And I guess where my comment, what I meant was like, if you wanna put a storage shed on your yard, you usually have to come in with a drawing.
That's correct,
And
that's correct.
it would be.
Yeah, and we work with them and,
Yeah.
we try to work with them when they go to site it and get everything
Yeah.
figured out. But given the camping is temporary in nature,
Yeah.
you know, that's,
But just to be clear, so Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
if I'm understanding you correct, Barry, they would not have to do that.
no,
With this approval right
No.
now, they would not have to come back and.
that's
I
correct,
guess-
because there's nothing, we have nothing in writing that governs that.
But like, just for reference, like the Red Wilk situation
Mhm.
or the Travelers Motel,
Mhm.
they added a campground
Mhm.
where that was different, where they had
Right.
to get an ordinance
Right.
changed. This is something different.
This is just temporary.
Right.
It wouldn't be, it would be a good thing for us to look at that. It really would, so that we could say, we do wanna see your plans before this goes through.
Yeah,
I mean, I understand it's not to tell them tonight that they can't do that until that happens would not be on the
But
table.
as you can recall, then, you know, during State Fair, it's
Correct.
Yeah.
Camper City over
Correct.
there. And so you can't expect one if you
Correct.
don't expect the rest of them to follow
Exactly.
the same.
Right, so that's
That's where the
why,
situation-
that's
Exactly.
essentially why it died.
Correct.
That's where in Huron we kind of have an interesting situation.
Yeah.
Yes. We would not expect
Yeah.
that.
So, anyway, but we do recommend approval, so.
But there's no language whatsoever in terms of, I mean, you listed the backflow and some of that kind of stuff, but that's not, none of that is in the summary from the hearing examiner, none of that is in there.
Right.
So I'm just wondering for the purposes of what we're approving,
So when we approve these, we approve them with the recommendations, and we recommend either the planner, hearing examiner, and the building inspector, all three recommendations.
right, but what I'm saying is like, so Barry has made reference to backflow and some of that kind of stuff, but that is not in any of the documentation.
No.
No, that was just part of a discussion that we had, and so we just recommended they contact Rob Rieger regarding that, if they were to put in permanent services
Yeah.
in the future.
That's all, so that, but
So there's nothing that says that they have to do that today.
The key word
That's-
is
Right,
permanent.
well, bring it to us, like, if they do that, that's on them, but
Very-
we have no way that we can require her to do that.
That's right.
I'm just making sure I understand
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what we're giving approval to
Yep.
before we vote on it.
The key is permanent and temporary.
Right, that's correct.
What's the definition of the two?
Well,
What's the differing definition of temporary and permanent?
the permanent hookups would be installed, so you would have utilities and water and sewer all underground in place, such as Red Wilkes Campground.
Okay.
Okay, that's what we would consider permanent.
What's temporary would be, just using
They
an
could-
example, Wayne.
Garden hoses running
Yeah,
from the
that-
spigots?
There you
Yep,
go.
Wayne Hofer has
Yeah.
probably 20
Yeah.
back over there by With's radiator. And obviously they don't have full hookups, but
Mhm.
they have utilities.
So-
They put enough power, but there's no sewer.
There's no sewer, water, or anything like that, so that's what we would consider permanent.
So the question at hand is to raise the facility that is on or the structure that's on the property now,
That's correct,
replace it with a mobile home, which
that's correct.
the mobile home, we changed the definition of a mobile home, and this new structure would
Yes, the
Qualify
permanent
under that.
structure that would be considered a residence, and that it would be allowed they're asking for a variance to do short-term rentals, and then it would also serve as a residence for Sage or, you know, the family to live there.
yeah.
You know, the camping thing is something, is a secondary use, is what they're proposing, that is
Yeah,
only
and
for
I-
temporary use.
And I think that's
Yeah.
the point of the conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
So, the
Yeah.
camping is only for
Clarity on that.
secondary purposes.
Clear as mud?
Well, and I'm echoing Commissioner Bragg's question of it is, where is the differentiating point? And I'm sorry, you're kind of getting drug into this conversation.
And none of us are trying to make it difficult for what you're doing. We like what you're doing, we're in support of it, I think, but
Yeah.
we're just trying to make sure we know procedurally what we're doing. So.
Right, and just trying to differentiate the difference between what Mr. Wilk applied for and was approved for and
Well, I think,
Other
my
things.
understanding is that if we have a campground, they can rent that out all year long if they want.
That's
They can
correct.
park a camper there for 6 months, somebody
That's
can live there
correct.
for 6 months, do whatever they want. Now, there's other scenarios where there's properties that have electrical hookups in the backyard. Those electrical hookups get used for 1 or 2 weeks out of the year, and that's it. So to me, this is a very temporary camping, I think, is, you know, like concerts, as it says in the minutes here, concerts, state fair, just temporary, big ticket items that come to the community. Whereas permanent camping is, you have a campground, and you park your camper there for workers or long-term residents to stay in those campers for extended periods of time, or you have, you know, you say you start up Yogi Bear down there or something, you know, you're shoving people in and out every weekend. I mean,
Yeah.
that's totally different than, to me, temporary is just used for big, you know, big ticket things that happen in the community,
And we do
where we
have-
don't have enough hotel rooms,
Right,
things like that.
we do have an ordinance that governs that, and, you know, they can't be on site without our authorization for more than 72 hours. And so we do have a way to manage that.
And there are lots in town that have electric hookups on them that we can't sell as a campground, but
Right.
it's used for the fair because we just want, you know, we want the people to come to the community.
Correct.
So what we're voting on, the language will match, because I agree with what Commissioner Harvey, the way he laid it out, as long as our language matches that, I'm in favor of that. I think if it's
It's just-
short-term, temporary, and then I'm totally fine with raising the house and putting up a much nicer looking, permanent structure out of with a mobile home, but just to make sure that the language of what we're voting on actually matches that intent, then I'm good with it.
Does that sound right, Sage?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, anything else? Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinrice,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey?
Aye.
Mayor Robish?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
both
H.
for coming in. The Board of Adjustments adjourns to reconvene as a city commission. Starting out tonight's meeting, our consent agenda. Matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the city commission at one time, without discussion unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given item. Items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal items. Our consent agenda consists of 6.1 minutes of August 19, 2024. Fuel quotes for city departments. 6.3 set September 9th as public hearing date to consider retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine license for Crossroads Hotel, 100 4th Street Southwest. 6.4 special event on sale alcoholic beverage license by the School Board Bar and Grill for September 21st, 2024. 6.5 is a raffle crafting out cancer event headed by Debbie Vaughn. And 6.6 personnel items. Appoint Linda Skorheim as interim deputy finance director. Number 2, reclassify the part-time seasonal employment of Caleb Ferguson from ball field maintenance to park maintenance. Number 3, reclassify the part-time seasonal employment of Levi Preston from central park maintenance to park